Ana Lucia, aka Coco Maria, thank you for joining me today.
Cool. Thanks for inviting me.
Good morning. It's a morning in Amsterdam now, right?
Yes, look at my morning face.
Fantastic. Look, I was really excited about today chatting with you today, and I have been enjoying your radio shows, and we are part of contributors to Radio alHara as well. So I've been part of the alHara team since the start of the year, and so there's just like this whole sort of community in the region of presenters and radio guests, selectors, and we've first time ever really have kind of found a platform to connect and within the region. And so like coming across you guys from Worldwide FM also contributing to the station has been amazing. It just sort of shows the strength of the station and what's happening. And yeah,
that's cool.
Well, yeah. I wanted to chat to you today about your why versus how as well. So is this something that you think about a lot?
Like my why?
Your why, yeah. Like in terms of your why in what you're doing and how you kind of define it. It's something that you check in on a regular.
Really, yes. I think I always did it, and especially this year, that this year that changed so many things. I think about the why very, very often. Yes.
Mm-hmm. How does that look like for you? Like, I mean, in terms of the reasons behind what you're doing and the way you're from a day-to-day, to explain a bit about like what it is about what you're doing with your music, because I know that you're a producer as well, you're an artist, and as well as a presenter. So explain to me how that looks like to you. And
I wonder often about what I do, because I guess we both like music, not very much, so we are doing this. But first, sometimes I forget, for a little moments, I forget what I'm here. Because I think in the music world, apart, of course, we like music, we like to share music, but I think it's very easy to get off track. No, because music involves a lot of different things like attention or social media, or also I think sometimes instead of the music, the attention goes to the person, not like to the DJ, for example. And
yes.
And that's nice because you're working on this, and it's nice to be recognized and to be treated nice. It's nice, really cool. But sometimes I feel if I get off track and I start to focus only on that, I will forget about the music, And I think when it happens, I think, what am I here? And then I think about those first days, those first years where I was sharing music with my friends and doing mixes for each other, or playing in really small parties with no DJ name, no flyers. And then I think of those moments, and then I think that's why I'm here,
Yeah.
And then I reconnect.
And do you find that like self-reflection or self-checking in helps you get realigned? Does that help you kind of like remember why you're doing it? But not only that, but just as not so much about purpose, but more on and even not just even from an identity, but just it puts you back. It just kind of realigns you. Is that what do you feel like this sense of reconnection?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's a good word. Realignment.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Because I guess why I'm intrigued by this is, and I felt because you mentioned that it is something that you think about a lot. It's something that I think about too, and it's so, especially in the DJ world, there's such a big focus on promotion and marketing, and we have to there is a level of that we have to participate in that. It's part, to get your message out and to spread what you're doing. But I think it's about the intention and like what runs that in the background. And I find that also challenging for myself when I'm like, trying to let go of that desire, and letting go of just focusing on numbers or trying to think of how can I communicate to bigger people. I mean, you do have to think of those sort of things. It's a business at the end of the day, like in that sense. But there is that why, and we're doing something. We're providing a service. We're sharing music. We're sharing good vibes. Have you found that to be challenging for you in identifying the differences there?
I think, not all the time, but there's moments where I find it difficult, especially the last couple of years. No, because I think at the beginning, as you said, I didn't care about profile or
yes,
I didn't care. I didn't have Instagram even. No, I didn't want it, and I remember with my friends at that time, I was just changing my name, whatever on the flyers. It didn't matter. I was experimenting with different names. We didn't have flyers. We just sent emails to our friends, but then now when I look back, it was fun, but this thing that you said, like having a profile, having the image, a coherent story, all this, it's important also, and I enjoy also.
Yeah.
So just the challenge just for me comes when I am focusing too much on that. Sometimes I'm like, oh, what am I? Is what I'm doing fine, or what am I doing? Or also sometimes people who work on the music thing, they sometimes expect something that you do something some way and that's the other side of having this profile, that they put you in a box and then they expect that you will play something or you will say something and then you don't want. And that's the only challenge, I think, that when you have this image, then people expect something. I think something like this. Yeah.
Yeah.
No?
I also think that if you focus more on how you're doing things as opposed to why, that also helps. Like I think if you kind of like know what your why is, and then it's kind of like the how kind of just sort of comes, like not really thinking too much about the processes, or once you kind of get back into that realignment, then it just sort of kind of flows. Do you find that as well for yourself?
Yes, like that. I think more how. Okay, this is what I want. How, and then kind of not think too much about the other things, just about the how. Now, like how, for example, how to have a nice radio show, or how to keep playing nice music, or how to stay fresh. All these things. Yeah, then the rest comes by itself, right?
Yeah, yeah. What exactly about migration is fascinating for you? You mentioned that that's something that you've been sort of thinking about as well.
Yeah, it is. It is for me something I think a lot about, because when I first moved to Europe, I always thought it was just temporary. Like just a couple of years or until I finish my studies, then I go back to Mexico. Or, okay, I'm just going to work 2 more years and then I'm going to go back to Mexico, no? So I always thought Mexico is there and I will go back. But then for the last 5 years, I thought I changed it. And then I decided I want to stay here, no? And then, so then that changed my whole perspective, because then I'm thinking much more about being an immigrant, and also the fact that I'm always going to be an immigrant here, but in Mexico, I'm also a kind of immigrant. And then also I'm thinking about it, but that's more like my personal quest, not like my own identity. And then for the music thing, it also affects the music side, because in a positive way, because I realize, yes, I come from Mexico and I play music from Latin America, but also all these countries where I have lived have influenced my style. And I think of all these positive things that migration has, and actually at the end, music is always a result of migrations. And then the last couple of years, I'm thinking more on that, and I even studied this in Berlin.
Yeah. So what you just said now was interesting, that when you're back in Mexico, you also feel like a migrant. Explain to me.
Yeah, as I said, the first years when I went back was just, nice. I'm going to go here and I'm going to go there and I'm going to visit this person. Like to continue my old life.
Yeah.
But now when I go back, everything changed. All these memories I have of Mexico, for me, like they don't exist anymore, these things. And then things are changing there and I'm not catching up so well.
Right.
I mean, I catch up, but it's not so quick anymore. I don't go there and I get it straight. I have to, okay, I have to, it takes me more and more time to go there. And then also, for example, some friends are there. I'm not part of their life anymore. You know, like, okay, we're online connected and all this, but I'm not really part of their life anymore. So much in person and my family. And that's one part. But also the other thing is, I'm thinking sometimes, what if I just went back to Mexico now, tomorrow? I could not stop thinking about Europe, you know, because also in Europe now I have my best friends, my boyfriend, my house. I studied here. I have my work here. So it's not so easy anymore to just say, I'm going back to Mexico. So then even if I go to Mexico, now I'm going to be also disconnected from here. I don't know.
Yeah. And I guess that's happened because of the length of time that you've been away. Those old connections sort of fade, but there's still, obviously you still got roots there. Your family's, you got family there, and I can relate to that because I was originally from Sydney, and I've been away for almost 10 years now. Okay, and you do see those changes happen over and you start to see those relationships, environmental kind of experiences as well. They start to sort of they evolve in a different. It's not necessarily a negative thing, but it just changes. Yeah, and I do find the same too. When I go back, I have to kind of find it, catch up. I understand that. So that what is it exactly about it? Like, is it because you have found like the moving has been part of the sort of development process of who you are as well? Like, I mean, because you've been moving. You said a lot of places that you've lived around Europe. And I guess every place, including where you are now in Amsterdam, has been compounding to the person that you are now. And so Tom, are you planning to stay now longer in Amsterdam?
I think so. I feel like it feels different to the other places, no? Because when I was in London or Berlin, I thought it was fun. Especially Berlin was very fun. But I when I thought about really far away future, I always thought, I don't see myself old here. You know, I really enjoyed I really like every moment in Berlin, but I always thought I don't see myself being old in Berlin.
Right.
And I always had this idea, it's not going to be forever for sure. But in Amsterdam, I feel different. In Amsterdam, I feel, or in Holland, I feel, this looks like a nice place to settle. You know, and I will see what happens. But it's interesting. I feel that this is a good place to use as a base. You know, not necessarily that I'm never going to go anywhere anymore, but that is my base, a nice base.
For the time being, anyway, right? So yeah. And so is that the part of migration that you think about a lot? Because is it more about settling in one place?
Yeah, settling. Also about a lot. The migration part has a lot, of different connotations. And one of them is about with the music thing. It's also, for example, I mean, I don't see it so much myself because I play music from Latin America, no? But for example, what about my colleagues or people from Latin America who want to play electronic music? So then, but they're from Latin America, and then straight there's this, they have these different difficulties because they don't come from a country that is typical for electronic music. Then they have a different challenge, They have to, the cliches and all this. So for me, it has been working on my favor because I play music from where I am from.
Right.
But at the same time, then that puts me in this box of, because I don't want to be on that box. Because she's Latin, she plays this music and that's it. But also to show that there's more music I like to play. And that's why also, I mean, it's part of being immigrants now, like.
Yeah.
But it's not, yeah. But for me, the most important aspect of the thing I think the most, we know what you mentioned is this, what we thought about the difference, how everywhere you've been makes part of you and what you do.
Mm. Yeah, well, I mean, of course, you have a rich and deep understanding of where you're from, and so your music, your music palette is like sort of it demonstrates that, and so it must come a lot easier to you to sort of focus on that kind of music in where like and being able to share that in that part of the world.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. So you mentioned there was a lot of plans. You had a lot of plans for. There was a lot of things planned for this year in 2020, and a lot of, obviously, like with all of us, a lot of things have been put on hold. How are you coping with that? Like, and what are you doing? What are some of the strategies or coping methods that you use to kind of sort of keep you feeling like you're doing, your duty or your art, and like, what are you doing to sort of keep that momentum going?
Yeah, that was hard sometimes. No, this year. Yeah, I feel that I had moments. I don't know what about you. I'm curious about your process, but when in March when all this started, I had first this month of negation. You call negation, like no, it's not possible, or like no, this is not going to last.
Yeah.
No, so at the time I was like, okay, this is not going to last, but I was kind of just staying home and reading and listening to radio shows. So I was quite relaxed. But for me, the tricky, and then I thought, oh, this is just a moment to rest. And then in June, I'm going to go for it. But then June arrived and nothing happened. I mean, only a couple of things, music things happened. And that's that's for me when the challenge started. When, all this, the whole lockdown, I was thinking in June, I was going to start playing and give it all, but didn't happen. So then I lost a lot of energy there in June. Like it was really hard, and I really was catastrophizing everything. I thought it's over and I'm never going to do this anymore, and I don't care what happens. And then it was a few weeks now, but then I started to think of the positive, and then I was focusing on my radio shows. Because for me, before, I always loved my radio shows, but for me it was something, not that I don't care, but I was focusing more on the gigs, and then my show was on the side. And now the opposite. Now my show now is for me the most important thing. So I just give it all on my radio show. And then I realized through that energy that I put there, I got a lot of new, how do you say, a lot of doors opened. Like I got to meet a lot of different people, or people got to know me. I'm starting to discover more genres. I'm starting to, I think at the moment that's it. My radio shows, because I could say I'm focusing on a lot of future projects, but we also don't know what's going to happen. Also, I'm helping friends to make music. But I don't know what you think, but for me also it's very hard to make music and not being in the studio. I want to be there with them, not just online talking about a song. So I think, yes, keeping the communication with other colleagues or artist friends, focusing on my radio shows, finding new music. And I think it's also a good time to take care of things like the website, your profile.
Yeah.
No, all these things that were whatever. Okay, the profile, we're working on this, putting these things together. And that's what I was focusing on the last 3 months. Yeah.
So it's like a shift of focus, and and imagine for someone who's all about sort of taking action, not postponing on your aspirations. This must have been difficult for you, you know, because you seem to be sort of very proactive kind of person. So, the radio show, your show, how often is it on worldwide? Is it monthly? No, every Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday. It was monthly.
It was, right.
And now, since for the last 2 months, it's every week.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, it must keep you busy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that keeps me busy for sure.
Fantastic. And so what's I mean, I guess what are some of the new things that are in the horizon that you've got coming up now?
I had so yeah, one thing is I want to do I want to make my show better.
Mm-hmm.
You know that I am really a better broadcaster.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I have in the horizon, that it's not just something on the side,
mm-hmm.
something cool. It's something that I want to do better, you know, get better at making interviews or researching or presenting, chatting, all these things. And then that's one. And the other one is I have in mind, I have some dream locations where I would like to play.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, at the moment, we cannot plan that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm working on music with different friends, like songs, helping friends with their own songs.
Amsterdam-based or everywhere?
No, everywhere, really, like Berlin, France.
Yeah, I guess that's
UK.
The benefit of the internet now. We can do all that.
Yeah, but I'm very bad at doing this online, though. You know, for example, in the past, I made 2 songs with a friend.
Mm.
We did 2 songs, and it was super fast. You know, we just met in the studio and we were there, and then okay, I come back tomorrow, and then it was done.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm here in my house like this. I don't know how to start even, and I think I'm just gonna wait till I see them in person to record.
Right.
So that's one thing, and albums coming up, but everything got postponed. For example, I want to make this album with a friend who is stuck in Africa. Not stuck, but no, he's not stuck. He's living there now, but he cannot come back to Europe yet.
Right.
So it's all about making music, being better at my radio shows, and also keep traveling once we can do it again.
Mm. And what is it? What kind of stuff are you doing for sort of like music communities building? Are you doing? Is that part of your own projects? What exactly are you doing at the moment for sort of music community building?
Yeah, this was something I started to think more this year, that we cannot meet in person.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when I look back, it's always for me very important. One of the most important things about playing records and doing parties and making events and all this is the community around the music. And that's something I experience very strongly now with my radio show at Worldwide FM, that how and I didn't think about this before. I just wanted people to like the show and that's it, or put this music out there. But I realized that I'm valuing a lot these, the people who come every week to listen to the show, the people who contact me, the people who ask me things. It's kind of the same people. So I realized this is something very cool, that to have not just any random person listening to your show and then the next day they don't care, but these people who are very loyal. And then I really thought, oh, wow, that's really cool to have. And how can I keep that? And also I realized that now that I moved to Amsterdam, I think there's a lot of potential for building a community around the music I play. It's a bit hard now because we don't know when it's going to happen again. Also because clubs are not even sure if they are going to stay. So I think that's something I want to focus once we can get back to work, about how can I build a community around this music I play in Amsterdam. Yes, around a venue. It could be around a venue. It could be start with a party. You know, many ways.
And tell me, and what's your interest with Japan?
I want to play there.
Is that one of the places?
Yeah. But like so much, like I really want to play there.
Yeah. Well, it's as far as long as I can remember, the Latin American music is so well received in Japan, and it has been for a long time. And I mean, you actually, people actually go to Japan to find pressings of Latin American music there, because of the huge interest is there. Is that something that has always been like? Have you been before? Have you been?
No.
Okay. Right. Neither have I. And I'd love to go, but yeah, there's just so many great record stores that have kind of been around. Even during the dip of vinyl, because we know now vinyl has sort of really come back from strength to strength over, recent years. It's like, back in circulation and has been a big part of collecting music again. And it's a very big part of DJing culture. It still is.
Yeah.
So, but from when I guess there was this huge, change where vinyl was like, okay, we're scrapping vinyl, and there was this massive like drop, and Japan kind of just kept going. Like Japan was like, their record stores were still there. Is there any kind of music communities or people that over there that you want to connect with, and any venues that you want to work with?
I only have a few names, like people like us, like DJs and a couple of bands, but I don't know them in person. But it's like you say, I just admire how deep they can go and to any genre they choose. And then I think it can be an interesting experience to play so far from where I am from, and that people have the same passion for that music, no? And I also, just for personally, I think it must be very fun to be there. And music is the perfect excuse to go there and meeting people and sharing. And I think I just imagine it like it's going to be a lot of fun. And that's one of the places, That's why. But also of course, but first I need to save some money, and then I would like to check those record shops everybody speaks about.
There are like amazing DJs and producers that are there, and I'm a big fan of people like DJ Muro, Toshio Matsura, who's been at it for a long time, legendary. Who else? There's that DJ Coco that's like out now. He's like, I think right now is probably like the best 45 DJ. I mean, I'm not sure if you've come across this guy. It's Coco with a K.
Okay.
Check him out. You might have seen a video of him.
Yeah.
Man is amazing. Like, he's a turntablist, but he plays with 45s and it's just insane trickery and turntablism, but proper like hip hop kind of turntablism. But like he plays like the rarest things, the fun things, the classics, but just does it so well. And he's honestly, I think right now he's like probably at the peak of that 45 sort of game. Do check him out. He's awesome. I mean, the legends of course, like DJ Crush and all these. Japan, I've just been so fascinated with Japan my whole life, and I've yet to go. I can't wait to go too. Tell me, your something else is also a big part of this podcast is it's not. I mean, I love to share about music, but it is more trying to understand more about people in the music industry and things that they do, like to kind of keep them sort of focused and keep them because especially with all the different variables and environments that we work in and the pressures of being an artist as well, mental health is a big thing. And I noticed that that's something that's quite important for you as well. Tell me a bit about your experience with mental health.
Yeah, actually, before I even did the music thing, I was already studying psychotherapy.
Okay.
And psychology and
education. You're studying this.
Yeah, my back.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, in Mexico, I studied something. In English, it's more or less like education. It's not really to be a teacher, but it's education psychology. And then in London, I did art therapy.
Oh, lovely.
And then in Berlin, I did intercultural and migration studies. So and psychology was a big part of these studies now. So I've been there. I'm doing that before I did music as a job.
Okay.
And then I really first thought it was not connected. Of course, I heard about musicotherapy and all this. But that for me was the only connection. And then about how music makes people feel. And that is very connected. That it connects people and makes us feel good. So this was there, but not deeper than that. But the more I'm taking this job seriously, the more I realize how important it is to keep your mental health fine, balanced, to keep doing it. And then I think, especially this year, I realized of how much anxiety and worries and things like talks about mental health are on the rise.
Yes.
So I started to research more and more about it just these months and how important it is to talk about it. And I think that the other day a friend on Instagram, she posted something about that people who work, artists who do their own thing, or they have to have a very strong, you get a lot of rejections in your career. No, it could be whatever. It could be that you make an album and it doesn't get any review or nobody wants to listen to it, or it can be that you get dropped, or it could be that nobody comes to your party or stuff. Yeah. It can be small things, it could be very big things. And the people who work on this field, you have to cope with that. No? So how do you cope with all these things that don't depend on you? And then I read this book. I don't know if you have heard about this book. I don't really like the title, but it's called Can Music Make You Sick?
No, I don't know it. All right.
It's really interesting, like a big research made by these researchers in London. And then they really were, they spent a few years interviewing music artists, DJs, musicians, producers, bookers, all people who work in music. And then they discuss the problems that people in the music industry face. Yeah. So yeah, and then that's it. And then I think it's more this year that I took back these studies, that I thought they were in the past, but I took them back. And then I'm thinking, how can I be part of this, the movement of mental health awareness and mental health awareness.
Have you found that, like, with your studies in the past, and especially with art therapy as well, did you find that actually also helped prior to the re-ignition, like the re-interest again this year of going back into that? But did you find that your previous studies and that kind of information and was also sort of embedded, and it kind of did that help you as a DJ as well, like in the way you communicate with people? And did you find that was helpful?
I actually sometimes thought yes, but more in a personal way, right? Yeah. As you said, in the communication, or as I said before, I really think it's very nice to connect and to make these community things, I think those studies play a important role. Also on the, I mean, maybe this is just my idea, no? But for example, when you're playing music and then there's this room of people, you need to be aware of the moods, right?
Yes.
Or the energies, or I think that's also something you can do without being a psychologist, no? But I think I was constantly thinking about it. Being aware of the people, the way they were talking to me, or the way the room was, or the way I was feeling. No, I think it was more personal. It helped me a lot personally. That in these studies I did, it involves really knowing yourself, and then I felt this helped me to find my way. I think it did, yeah.
Yeah. No, because I had this thought when you were explaining before about the book, and it was not so much just about the connection of how it can help you, but it seems that we, especially for people who work in the music industry, that it's like it's pretty like imperative that we do learn how to cope, like have coping strategies and self-soothing. I mean, you could say that with anything in life, really. Like, it's important to understand how to deal with setbacks and how to deal with all these sort of things. So you've now got this new passion, I guess. Your old passion has been reignited. And now try to find this connection with music and mental health. Yeah.
Yes.
What else is? What other ideas have emerged? Because this is exactly why I'm doing this podcast.
Okay.
It's like and it happened just before COVID that I wanted to launch this, and I was like, how can I bring this together? And so I thought, I'm going to make a podcast.
Yeah. So your podcast is about talking about the reason you made it is to talk about it.
Yeah, it's to share it, because everyone. I find that every time you speak to someone different, it's in the nuances, like the little different, like the different experiences. Everyone's got something to share, and I think we're always learning. And I find that when we're able to talk about these sort of things openly, where it's kind of like it's a give and take situation here. Like you're also getting something from this conversation as much as I am, and I love, and then we're able to then put it out there for someone to listen to, and it could be just something that we said today that could just really ignite something in someone else's brain, and it can really change their thought processes and help grow as well. Just in the small details, we're always constantly sort of shifting. So so tell me, what ideas have you been you've thought of to kind of go into that direction?
Yeah, I felt even before COVID, I remember I was always, when I met DJs or people who I admire or people who do the same thing, I always enjoy the moment where you talk about things, more than everything else. And then I realized that every time I wanted to speak to people, it was always about the music, yes, very important, but also about how they feel, how do they deal with this, how do they cope with that. And then I was always unconsciously always interested on that way. And I remember I once read this interview by this DJ I know from London. She did this interview for, I forgot what, but she talks about imposter syndrome. And then I thought, she has imposter syndrome? How? And then when I read about this, I thought, wow, that's cool that she mentioned it, because I thought it's something that just affects only a few. And then when I met her in person, I asked her, hey, you mentioned this on this interview. And she was telling me more and more about it. And then I thought, oh, wow, just a small thing I read on this interview made me speak to her about this openly. Now, before I would have not come to her, hey, what do you think about imposter syndrome, or nothing. And then I realized that when you are done speaking about music, about what you're doing in this project, after that, what's there, no? And I think when you are go a bit deeper, then everybody has a little bit of not issue, but something they think about. And I think when you talk about mental health, or about the worries, or about these issues, I think apart from deepening the connection, you realize that it's a thing we all deal with.
Yep.
And I think like podcasts like yours and talking about this gives you strength to know you're not alone, to know that it's just a thing that exists, and that if you realize everybody feels the same, it's easier to cope with it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's exactly all that. What you mentioned is just exactly. I've found myself, without using all the sort of like the big words in this field, like it's so a lot of buzzwords, but I've found myself, like every time I do these interviews and discuss them, I'm always constantly like I always feel this energy after I finish, like like I tell when I invite people, I tell them I'm selfishly learning and transforming at the same time, like it's like I figured this is one of the most biggest upsides, and I didn't think of this, it wasn't my plan when I put this together. It was just like I just felt throughout this whole this year is that I've found that people want to exchange more, they want to talk more, they want to share, and I think that's like one of the biggest positives from this year. One of the obvious that's come to my attention anyway.
Yeah.
So, okay, tell me now. You've got you mentioned before that you're working on some music projects. Is there any set dates?
No.
Okay.
No, not really. I mean, there was one thing, we were working on this album, and the first date was supposed to be August, but then we could not meet, we could not record, so forget it. And then we thought December, but now it's not ready. So I think it's going to happen in April.
Okay. What to start again? To start working again?
No, to release it.
Okay. Oh, okay. It's a full Coco Maria album.
No, it's like okay, I have two.
Okay.
One is an album, but it's not full me. It's with another friend who is a producer and musician, and then it started just for fun. No? We wanted to just
because I noticed you've done stuff with Daniel Huxman. Are you planning to work with him again? Is that who you're talking about?
Actually, yes, we are planning to do it. Yeah, but that's the one.
Right on. Right on. He's amazing.
He's cool. Only thing is, as I said, I mentioned him before. Like when we met in the studio, went super well and super fast, and within a week we were really. I mean, I never did it before, but when I was working with him, everything went super smooth. And now I feel like here at home is not the same thing. So I'm waiting till we meet.
Where is he based?
He's in Berlin.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, but then there's this second project with another friend who is also from Berlin. He's in Berlin, but now he's in Africa.
Right.
So, but that has to wait, that one.
And you're wanting to work with all three of you together?
No, it's two different things.
Two different projects.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, why don't you tell the listeners where they can find you? I went and checked out your website. Do you want to tell the listeners the address?
Yes, cocomaria.net.
Yep.
And there is my website, and then links with Instagram or my radio shows, mixes are all there.
Fantastic. Well, it was lovely to meet you and lovely chatting with you this morning.
Yes.
And I look forward to meeting you in person one day.
Yeah, me too. It will be fun.
Absolutely.
And I think your podcast is it's very interesting, and I'm happy somebody's opening up and making conversation about this.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Take care.
Cool.
I'll speak to you soon. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.